consider me a big shot. What up to Stevie, Mimi, and Scrap, yo, I'm on my love and hip-hop. Yes, so solid, it flows through my body. And if you got it, love, I'm told that's where God is. I'm Tyrone Biggins, whenever love is given to be pragmatic. I'm just an addict for your love, I gotta have it. How my problems disappear when love's connected. I never wanna take back an hour, minute, or second. What a blessing, love ain't proud, it ain't rude. Love, it rejoices in telling the truth. Love is so patient, kind, it doesn't envy. Love your friends, love your enemies. I hope this love sink in. Got love for my neighbor, agape phileo. Let me be more convincing. Maybe you can dive in and exegete or censor, dissect the scripture where Bishop we show love. Or if you a sinner, transgender like Bruce Jenner, well, Caitlyn, we show more love. We use basic math, don't subtract, divide it. God can take one love, then add or multiply it. Don't wanna swear by it. I promise if you don't have love, your life will be full of the opposite. And that's a big mistake. You trying to demonstrate all love in sync like Justin Timberlake. And that's a big mistake. You trying to demonstrate all love in sync like Justin Timberlake. If it cost $1 million, or if it was free, I love you, you love me. Let's put love together, call it love scene. Love scene, love scene, love scene.
All right, how's it going? How's it going? This is Brother John McGriff with Love Sync Ministries, Love Sentence. And you are preaching the scripture, 1 John 4:8. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And make sure you guys on Facebook, make sure you like, you go to hearts up, go like sign, thumbs up, whatever they want to call them. Make sure that you also leave some comments and share the videos. On YouTube, do all the same thing, share, like, comment. But the main thing on YouTube, you got to make sure that you subscribe and make sure you put it on public so I can see that you subscribe. So when we start giving away this money, I know who to give it to. If not, it'll just be staying in my pocket. So now that I put all that out there, you guys know what's going on. I'd like to bring up here in just a minute a friend of mine that I've been knowing for quite some time now. She is an author. She ended up being a model, and she is a life coach along with her hubby. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my friends. That is Tracy Barley and Frederick Barley. All out the screen because they're trying to put everything in there so you can see them all at once. They're trying to put themselves in there, the book in there, the flyers in there, the posters in there. They're trying to put everything in there. What's going on, guys?
Oops.
I get it.
Hey.
Hello.
Everything good?
All is very good.
Yes, sir.
All right. So since Frederick injected himself in there, now I got to interview both of y'all. So here's what we're going to do. I always start out with my 5 questions just to get the juices flowing. So, and these are all basically from high school days. So, Tracy, you first. Where did you go to high school?
Highland Park High School in Topeka, Kansas.
And Frederick?
Newton High School in Newton, Texas.
All right. And what was your mascot?
Oh, Lord, a Scotsman.
Mine was an eagle.
Yours was what, Frederick?
An eagle.
An eagle? Okay.
Yes.
And what was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject? PE, man. PE.
What you got, Tracy?
English. And I hope that my teacher, high school teacher, Barb Chamberlain, is watching. She was definitely one of my favorite teachers.
Okay, well, that was the next question. Who was your favorite teacher?
I had many, but I give her the credit for keeping me writing.
All right. And
My favorite teacher was Miss Hines. She was
Oh,
a geography teacher. She taught us a lot, really did. She was great.
okay. And so were you guys involved in sports or any other school activities?
Black Student Union, Any talent shows?
Football and track.
All right, then. All right. So now we get ready to get down to the serious nitty gritty of what's going on. So if you watch my show before, you always know that I ask, when did you first get saved? And when did you really actually take your walk with God serious?
I can tell you the date exactly. October 28th, 2090. No, sorry, 1990.
Wait a minute, hold up.
1990.
2090, you from the future? You trying to get there? Wait, you're coming back or what? What's happening?
1990.
Oh, 1990. Okay, that's different.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on getting saved. I was running from God. That was a miracle saving. I remember when the altar call was open, I didn't know whether I slithered, crawled, ran, but I found myself at the altar. And I remember my uncle asked me, "Do you want to be saved?" He was holding my hand and I was shaking my head, no. I said, yeah, it was a war, but the Lord got me. And started taking my walk serious. It was 1995, day after my birthday. I was doing some stuff the night before that I had no business, and I was in a church service, and we had prophetess and pastor, you know who it is, we both attended the same church. She called me up to pray for someone, and I remember she was like, and I'm like, so I walked up to the altar, and I remember repenting for my sins along with her sins and whatever. I led her through the sinner's prayer, and she also received the baptism of the Holy Spirit. And at that point, that's when I knew, ooh, God's not playing with me. He needs to use me. I need to get real serious. And it's been serious ever since.
Okay. All right. Frederick, how about you?
Mine is kind of strange. I was baptized. Look, we were born in the church, okay?
Right.
Baptized at an early age. And at that time when I got baptized, I don't know, I was a little boy. But at that same time, baptism was in reference to salvation as well.
Mm-hmm.
As a Christian, spent most of our time in the church. But on July 15th, 2001, I had the most amazing experience, a true born again experience. And that was a huge, and since that day, my life has not been the same.
Okay. Good. All right. So now, like I said, and our reason I always ask being saved and then taking your walk serious, because I used to ask, when did you first get saved? And then I would ask, so when did you kind of start backsliding? But I just changed it up because we know basically most everybody I talk to got saved at an early age. So they really understand the word, really went into the word. So a lot of in and out revolving door of the church was going on. So some people then got baptized 2 or 3 times because, So now, Tracy, I know your story a little bit more than Frederick. So now okay, so let me ask you this. So when you got married, and I just got through looking at the interview with you and the girl from Germany. So when you had your first marriage, now, again, see, so you were young, still, young, walking in the word. So then how did you equate your walk and then the person that you married? Were you still you were still winging it, or what?
I was like freshly saved.
Okay.
We got married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we was both winging it up real time. So as you can imagine, and I came up in a very traditional Pentecostal, so we were ways away as far as being saved. We laugh about it now, but actually me getting saved when I did probably stopped me from having to do prison ministry. So yeah, but yeah, that, and I was married to my child's father.
Mhm. Okay. So now we know that ended. You have a second marriage. So
Mhm.
now with the second marriage, sure you was a little bit stronger in the word. So what do you think happened with, okay, I know I'm saved, but I'm getting married again. So how did your faith walk? Did it help or not help, or did it just kind of like, again, I'm gonna wing it again?
Woo! Well, you see
What had happened was,
what had happened was, we all know about red flags.
mm-hmm.
And for those of you that are in abusive or unequally yoked situations, you know what I'm talking about. There were signs that well, first of all, I heard from the Holy Spirit to wait.
Mm.
Didn't want to wait because it was better to marry than burn, was that scripture that I had on.
Yeah.
And we were leaders in the church. We used to hold care groups in our home and deliverance ministry, all of that. We had standing room only, but behind closed doors, it was nothing nice. Again, we were very unequally yoked. I saw the potential that he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a counselor and pastor. Now, years after we got married, after we got divorced, he became a pastor and counselor.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, it's
Mm.
God that I'm married to the person, because after I sat my tail down and got some healing and really learned about who I was, how I was, and why I was, I got healed. And with healed eyes, I could see him and he could see me.
All right, so let me ask you this, because you know how your cousins are in the church. So here you are, both of y'all in the ministry, both of y'all serving, both of y'all doing what you're supposed to be doing. So then how would you answer, or what would you say to people that say, well, wait a minute, y'all supposed to be saved, y'all have positions in the church and all that kind of stuff, and y'all couldn't pray and that to make y'all marriage work out. What's going on with y'all? Y'all ain't have enough faith?
Oh, that's a good question.
Hey, that's what your cousins do.
All the time. I get it. I get it. First of all, you can't make the other person serve God. Again, we do see red flags. If we would keep our flesh out of it when we're dating, I recommend no kissing, definitely no sex while you're dating, because I've made that mistake a few times. But really keeping the fleshly part out so that you can begin to really learn that person, their thinking and their hearts. The moment you start adding your flesh into it, all reason, all logic goes out the door. All you think about is, oh, make me feel good. Let me make you feel good. I got to hook you on, because after all, we got to be together. And you don't know what you're hooking up with.
Amen.
So, I mean, for those that are in it, you have to continue to serve God and walk for God on your own, and pray for your loved one, your mate. If you're married, do what you need to do. You can continue to serve God and serve your spouse. Serving your spouse does not make you unholy. As a matter of fact, it makes you more attractive. For those of you that are shacking, if there's no commitment, and just because you are living together, that's still no commitment. So I really don't know how to speak to that, because if you don't love each other enough, you're in the church, you're serving, whatever, but you can't make that commitment before God, there really is no commitment. I don't know how to speak to that.
Well, you know something, since I've been doing this love walk, I can speak to that.
Okay, you speak to that.
The thing is, as we always say, you got to love God, love his word, and love yourself. And you have to build that relationship with God. So when you build that relationship with God, as I say, and you fall in love with God like God loves you, then you want to do the things of God. So shacking up is not even a question. You see what I'm saying? That is, it's not even part of the conversation because you love God, His word, and yourself so much that you don't want to put yourself in harm's way or between you and God. So you wouldn't shack up. You wouldn't do anything because you love yourself that much to put a separation between you and God. And that's what was happening back then. I know. Raise your hand, been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Shacked up. I don't even want to talk about it. Somebody have to interview me one day. But
make sure you take one with me.
Go, my sister. I love that girl. I love that girl.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you get your story.
That was with a whole nother person. That was in the early 90s. So don't worry about it. But yeah, so but that's the issue. That's how you speak to that. You have to build a loving relationship with God. You and God have to fall in love first, and you have to love yourself that you won't fall into those mistakes. And I guess that's kind of and this could go to both of you. So when you think about it like that, when you look at your situations of who you married, when you married, or how you married, how do you think, what would you have done better if you truly would have loved God and His word the way you do now? What changes would you have made in your marriages then?
What I would say is what changes is back then you're more selfish, and the more you grow into Him to be more like Him, you become more selfless. Back then, it was a whole lot more about me, myself, and I wanted and what I thought. And often enough, we make choices and decisions based on where we are. Well, as we grow out of us and go into more of Him, then it becomes more about what He thinks. And you get to see things from His perspective and not ours. That's where the transformation takes place. From our thoughts, His thoughts, our ways, His ways, selfish to selfless.
I think for me, changes I would have made, I wouldn't have been doing any missionary dating. We all know how missionary dating goes. Missionary dating, we start leading them to the Lord, and somehow we find a missionary.
Well.
Missionary dating. And number two, when the Lord is truly speaking, I mean, literally almost moving your heart. Warning, warning, stop, stop. That's my fault. I didn't pay attention.
All right. So now both of y'all been through all that. So what did it take for you two to find each other?
Can you clarify that, how we met or how we came to be?
Well, I guess you like you said, because now, hopefully by now, you're in the walk that you're supposed to be with God. So now that you're in that walk and you're, like you said, you're listening to God and not yourself. So how did that bring you two together?
I think what it did is on the backside of my mountain, on the backside of her mountain, I know He was working on me. And I was working on myself to become a better person. Only God can do so much. But the easiest thing we can do is fix someone else. But the hardest thing to do is to fix the man or the woman in the mirror. And on those years, it was quite a few years on the backside, I was doing a lot of fixing, which was my hardest, the toughest times of my life, because I had to deal with me and see myself for who I was. And I had to work on that person. And one thing about this, when He shows you things about you, He's giving you the grace to deal with it. I had a lot of grace, and I had a lot of grace periods. So what He was doing while He was working on me for her, He was working on her for me at the same time. And so I would say it was about His timing more than anything. He knew where we were. He knew where I was, what I had gone through, and He knew what He had been preparing me for.
in total agreement what he said. I think because I was healed by
Yes.
then, I felt like Ruth. I was going on doing what I needed to do. I had just got my master's with social work, emphasis in mental health. And 4 months after that, we met. And within 2 months, I knew, but I had to wait for him to know. And 4 months later, well, actually, 3 months into our dating, I took him home to my parents. I was asleep, and unbeknownst to me, he was asking my parents for my hand in marriage, which I did not know about until we were getting married. And then 4 months later, in our dating, he proposed. And 7 months from our time of meeting, we got married. And then a honeymoon.
Ever since.
Still.
Yeah. Here's something that, if I might add, I had gotten to the point, and this is something I'd never experienced in my life. I remember telling the Lord, I am content in him, and I am willing to live that way for the rest of my life because of who he had showed me I was in his eyes. Not only did he teach me how to love him, but he taught me how to love me and how I was capable of loving. And I had worked for years to develop a type of relationship that I never knew existed with him. I was content, and I would have been okay to be where I was the rest of my life because of the amount that I had gone through, but I had grown to love him. And when you do that, I think he's that and everything more. And that's where I was. But at the same time, I was prepared. I was looking. I was still open. But in him, contentment in him is first. I think that's the most important thing.
All right, I hear you. I hear you play on the gospel side. All right. So now that we're listening, we open our hearts up, our minds up. We love God because he loves us, and we love ourselves. So now with everything that you went through in past marriages, so now that you got all this, how do you feel that you were better for her, and Tracy, you were better for him now?
I think it took that. Had I not gone through what I went through called life, and here's things what happens when we can go through life. Either you can grow or you can become stagnant. I made mistakes and I learned from the mistakes. And through that process, there are some things you can go through. And if you learn from them, you grow through them and grow up from them, you'll never have to return in those places again. I'm thankful the good times, the bad, and the ugly, because it made me the type of person that I am today. I'll never forget, but it makes me so much grateful that he has given me an opportunity to have someone in my life that I can be what he created me to be. And that's what I'm thankful for. He prepared me only because of his grace and his mercy. So I'm grateful. I'm just thankful.
I think for me, learning that I could not change someone like I tried to do in my first marriage, nor try to be something that I absolutely was not in my second marriage, but really beginning to love and accept who and how the Lord created me to be and be comfortable in that, so that me as the gift, when I'm presented before the right person, that right person recognizes the value, not in what I do, can do, or what I have, but me. He recognized the value, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I sees it.
Boy, y'all too much. She back there laughing at y'all too. But okay, so I'm on this just for a little bit because they basically all grown now. But how do you think you guys' relationship, you're walking, do you think everything that you do now is setting an example for your kids? even though they are grown.
Very much.
Absolutely.
Very much. Because our children went through what we went through.
Mhm.
You know, in her case, in my case, they saw us then and they see us now, and we feel like they're watching us practically all the time. We're examples. And parents, you're an example to your children, regardless of the lifestyle that you're living, whether it's good or bad. So our goal was to set a good example.
And it's been easy to hear my child, who has seen me come through the abuse and experience some abuse herself, to say relationship goals. I want to be like you. I want what you have. I mean, look, I ain't supposed to get emotional, but that is amazing. Sorry for our canine diva down here. That's amazing to me.
Mhm,
Mhm.
It's like, I think what it does, it gives hope.
mhm,
And if children can see it, then it gives them something that they can become.
mhm.
And it's hope. It's hope.
Cool. Well, hey, that's that part of that's that real serious stuff right there. So now let's get into this part right here. Let's talk about this. Let's bring this up. Let me see where I want to put it. And do I look like that? And do I want to look it like this? I like it like that. Okay, go here. We'll do it like that. So let's talk about Unapologetically Gray. Where it came from, why it started, and what's going on. What's the real deal?
Unapologetically Gray is written for anyone whose society says your looks are either undesirable or unacceptable. I just use my gray hair story to bring about healing, empowerment, and confidence. That goes for gray hair people. That goes for people with freckles. I know some people with the gap between their teeth have the most beautiful smile, but they don't think so. Nowadays, the color of your skin, you're having low self-esteem issues. This book is for you. The gray hair movement has really kind of taken off behind this as well. So we are also trademarking. We're in the process of trademarking Unapologetically Gray, and we do plan to do some big things with it. If I could, at this moment, I would like to share the prologue. And as you listen to it, after I wrote this book, I realized that Ephesians 2:10 and 1 Corinthians 1 verses 27 through 29 are weaved throughout this whole entire book. Listen up, people. Hi, love. There is a story behind your distinctive existence. You are chosen to be a wonder. If you do not already know why, you owe it to yourself to learn what makes you so special, because you truly are. You are powerful in your own right, even if you don't feel it, see it, or know it yet. You were designed to silence the foolish talk about whatever makes people uncomfortable with you without having to lift a finger. You, in your extraordinarily fashioned way, have a designed purpose to be exactly as you are. I hope that this book inspires you to find your voice, liberty, protection, and love for yourself, to clearly express your uniqueness and focus on your whole best being. You do not have to be obnoxious to prove your boldness, unless that is just in your innate personality. Most people believe that they must be confrontational to make their presence known, but that's not necessary for you. We have all heard that saying, meekness is great strength under control. You are good enough. You have nothing to prove, no more shrinking back or hiding. Do not let the voice of ignorance shut you up and have the final say about you. Speak up to amplify the best of you. Live your best life and be unapologetically you. Signed, Unapologetically Gray.
We got the tissue. Y'all know I'm silly. But check it out. So here, now when we talked the other day, and I didn't realize this, because when it's like when something is not affecting you, you don't really think about it. So when we talked the other day and you said, people are really like putting down, teasing, harassing, and people that with gray hair, I was like, what? Get out of here. Ain't nobody doing that. Talk to me about that.
Gray shaming is so real. Gray shaming, where you see someone with spriglets of gray hair or they're growing their little gromby. Oh, you should really do something about that gray hair. Gray hair makes you old. For the record, gray is a color. It is not a stage in life. It is not a condition. It's a color. A lot of people, once they hit the age of 40, start panicking and going into severe depression. And that stems way back. If you can look at the CDC and life expectancies, clear back from the 1800s to the 1900s, I think things started changing about 1950. People were dying in their 40s. Gray shaming would be pretty much put up there with people that are shamed because of their weight. I'm gonna leave it right there because it's real close. For some people, they can't help it. For us, this is a part of life. Point blank and period. It just happens. So how dare someone put their mouths on somebody when this is a natural progression of life? Contrary to popular belief, it does not make you ugly. Yeah, let me go there. Gray shaming happens that's being projected on others because of their beliefs about aging. And if you dig real deep, you do notice that there are some things that people fear about getting old. I'm going to be unattractive. I'm going to be broke. I'm going to be sickly, feeble. Oh, my body's getting ready to break down.
Down through from there.
You're speaking that stuff into existence, by the way. Or your impending death. But I have to ask the question, you're still here? You're still living? And if you haven't talked yourself into those negative things yet, how is your belief really serving you? And even more so, that you can look at someone else and project your views up on someone who is trying to be authentic, embrace who they are. How dare you? And I have to challenge you right there because it's not right. And there's a lot of people that are very critical who just blurt stuff out, but they can't take it. If that question offended you, I need you to know that this is how you make people feel when you comment about their hair and they're trying to walk in their authenticity.
Oh, okay, then I ain't mad at you. Well,
There's another perspective also that you can look at too, not just the verbal that comes from people, but let's look at the media, for instance. And I'll tell you about my experience, if I might. There used to be a commercial out there just for men. Emmett Smith starred in this commercial, Walt Frazier. One day I was in this state, I was getting into age, I think probably turned 39 or 40. And I remember watching that commercial. And they come in, and what they say is, Emmett, he says, your gray hair has got you in a rocking chair. Your stash is trash. And then the other one says, your beard is weird. And then they come up with this just for men. And it colors it. And then the next time they show, Emmett's got this everything colored. And then they got him on the field celebrating. Well, that touched me because I went out and got that stuff. And I started putting that stuff all around here. And look, so like the more I put it in, the more gray hair starts showing up. So I said I had to stop that because we don't realize it's in our gates, what we hear, what we see, and how you articulate it in your mind can affect your meaning and your thoughts. That affected me very much, and it challenged me. And I had to work through that process. So it's what's said, what's done, and it's all about how you receive it and the state in which you are when you receive it. I was vulnerable then. And that's when it gets you, when you're vulnerable.
So true. And there are so many men and women, and especially this girl. I wanted so much to be loved and accepted. And I would hear comments like, "You are so beautiful. With that gray hair, you should really do something about your gray hair." And I talk about it in a book. I had a moment where I was doing my hair. I got my face broken again, if you will. And I was like, so I'm doing my hair, if I was to find that man and get married to him, and God forbid, we couldn't afford dye or something happened where I couldn't dye my hair anymore, didn't have the funds. This is who he's going to wake up to every day. He might as well love me for who I am. And at that point, it was my rebellion. Screw the world. If you don't like my gray hair, don't look at it. And I learned later that it wasn't just to get a man. That was for Tracy to begin to look at, okay, so who are you? Where's your worth? It's not tied up in your hair, your looks. It's what's going on in the inside. So when I begin to love the creation that God made, not only just the outside, but the true gift on the inside, because you see, y'all, all of this is the wrapping paper with the bow on top. The true gift is inside. And if a person passes you up because they don't like the wrapping paper of the bow, shame on them. They missed out on a good gift.
That's right.
But when I got my self-love, love found me. And he loved the whole package, including the bow.
Amen.
Whatever. I'm just kidding.
Amen. Amen.
So now you're gonna make me apologize in front of everybody since you finally told me what I said. Since I'm one of those people that told you need to do something with that gray hair. Going around using me as a doggone horror story and stuff. Like that's it.
But at least I didn't say your name.
And see, if I'm telling you, like you said, and if this was before the love walk, I would just tell you to get over it, keep on stepping. You know what I'm saying?
You pretty much did.
Because I've known you, and it's kind of like I parallel that with one of my sisters. I've known you through your black hair days. Like I've known my sister when she was skinny. When my sister started gaining weight and got big, then you started, like I said, and you started graying and just wearing your gray proud. It was like, just like I wouldn't want to take my sister anymore with me because man, people know my sister. That ain't what she used to look like. I can't be seen with that. You see what I'm saying? So again, I have to apologize to you if that hurt you because I didn't, you just say, like you said, you just saying stuff off the top of your head because you don't know no better. But just like with my sister, just because she gained weight, that doesn't make her who she is because she can always get rid of that weight. But it was my way of thinking that, I should have, but like I said, you come to yourself, you learn, you love, and you go on. But I apologize to your sister Tracy for if I made you feel any type of way back then. Hey, you can, hey. Boy, I tell you,
you touched on a very interesting point there. Much of that gray shaming and the thinking process that comes from other people is their perception from their own way of thinking. They reflect that onto you. So in their mind, if gray is negative, unattractive, That's what they're projecting on others.
Right.
So as we ask you before you criticize someone else, look at yourself. Is this the way you're feeling about yourself once you get there and you're projecting it on that person? Many people who think it's very attractive, it's how they view it, and that's how they give it out to the public. So a lot of it is about your own perception of how you feel about it.
I like you said about that attractive thing, because that leads us right into our next thing, because y'all doing something that kind of positive here about feeling good and something about some picture taking and stuff like that. Before you start talking about it though, let's pop up the man that's going to be also involved with that with you guys. So here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Carlos Dixon.
What's happening, everybody?
There you go. What's going on, guys? So y'all talk to me about this thing that y'all teamed up and put together.
All right. Well, I'll go first, I guess. So long story short, I've known Tracy all my life, right? Always been a lady of class, high class, always, right? So when I seen her and her husband doing Unapologetically Gray, I'm a headshot photographer who shoots black and white, so I have a fascination with gray, right? And so I wanted to do some headshots with Tracy. We've been talking about it for a while, just never got a chance to really line it up and do it. But we got together recently, and then Tracy came up with this idea like, hey, let's do a headshot workshop. I was like, yes, let's do it, right? And it would be focused on mature people of any age, right? Maturity of any age who has gray or silver hair. That's the focus, right? Natural hair, natural gray, natural silver. Because for me to see somebody with natural gray hair, or silver hair, whatever the proper term is, I always said, okay, there's somebody with a lot of wisdom, a lot of life, who's lived a good life. That's somebody I need to talk to, somebody I want to see, somebody I want to capture, right? So as a photographer, for me doing headshots, you're pretty much dealing strictly with facial expressions. And that's what captures that moment in those images. And I think it would just be super powerful to do headshots with men and women of all ages of maturity who have natural gray or silver hair. And I think that's going to be dope.
Carlos, I give you the credit. I think what it is you heard my heart's cry.
Yeah.
That gray hair, silver hair people are not represented in the media properly, not even celebrated. And we talked about, especially for African American supermodels, there's only one, Joannie Johnson.
Yeah.
But of us gray hair models you see looking like fuddy-duddy grandparents in stuff, and something dealing with the homelessness or poverty. I give you the credit because you called back and you said you had never done a gray hair shoot before. So I would say that was your idea. I think I probably just influenced you.
Well, I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this glory with you because you're my friend, and I really believe that you kind of really inspired and pushed me to go ahead and do this. I believe as you and have seen as you that if you are a person who has gray or silver hair and you're a model or actor, they always want to cast you as a grandparent. We're never cast as somebody who's, oh, listen, this person is beautiful, this person is young, they're active. It's always they're on their way out, or they're like a bum. And then we don't have a lot of representation. And I think with this workshop we're doing, I don't care if we just have one or two people. The goal is to show people with gray and silver hair and make those who may not feel like we know they should feel as, hey, you're beautiful, you're worthy, you're capable. You can achieve this. You can do whatever somebody with black hair or somebody with black hair.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
I think your hair doesn't make you who you are. Like Tracy said, your hair is the color, right? Because there's people who have a full head of dark and brown hair that may be dealing with depression or may be old. So for me, it's always been beautiful. My mother and my grandmother was Indian. So I would see her long, gray, silver hair, and I just used to be like, ooh, am I Indian too? You know, because I wanted to see that. And then my mother, as she aged, her hair was great. She never dyed it, you know, and I would just love to see that. It was empowering. And I think that's what we need to showcase. I think that's what we need to showcase. That's what we will showcase.
So
Here's
now,
another thing also, if I might add, Tracy and I, we have talked about this often, and with the photographers and the people that we deal with, we let them know what we're trying to project, something positive, something energetic. This is our heart's cry. She's talked about it. That's all we talk about, something positive. And so when we do it, it's not just from the outside, but people, it's more from the inside.
Right.
Out. It's projecting. It's what's going on inward. And so if we're struggling with low esteem issues, challenges, insecurities, that's going to project on the screen.
Right.
On the other hand, you're secure, satisfied, enjoyed, that's going to project. So it's about being where you are, projecting something inward and letting it just flow across the screen.
Right.
so now, would I be insensitive then to act still if somebody don't feel as good on the inside, but when they get there, y'all got something to put on their outside to make it all come together?
So
I think they need a life coach.
yeah, it's called a conversation. That's what we.
Yes.
It's a conversation, you know. So if somebody happens to show up, right, and they say, and I hear, and I'm pretty sure Tracy and Mr. Biley hear that they have self-esteem issues. That's when my minister really kind of fully kicks in. These images is not just about having headshots. It's not just to say, okay, I need some new headshots. This is an emotional situation. We want to empower people, you know, whether it's the person in front of the camera or somebody the person in front of the camera is going to share that image with. Says, hey, listen, look at me. I'm powerful, you know. Here, I have gray hair, I have a silver beard, I have gray beard. I'm powerful. I feel powerful. And that's the difference between taking pictures and capturing images. And that's what we're going to do.
Okay, I'm not mad at you. All right, I just put this little thing up right there. So now on this, it's talking about, I guess, the thing you guys are doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the shoot, what we're doing is everybody who shows up, well, one, you know, it's a fee of $50. You get 2 images, right? 2 images. That doesn't mean we're going to take 2 images, but that's how many you're able to walk away with. They'll also get the opportunity to speak and meet with Tracy and Mr. Byerly, you know, have some encouraging words poured into them. You know, it's going to be an experience. If they show up thinking, okay, I'm just getting some pictures, their mind's going to be blown. It's going to be totally different. If you want to just take pictures, you can probably go to Olin Mills. But if you want to have an experience where you can be empowered, be encouraged, this is going to be the one.
Good. Appreciate that. Well, Mr. Carlos, me and you got an interview tomorrow, so I'm not going to hold you much longer. So we'll talk about this again tomorrow also. So, sir, I appreciate you jumping on, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Y'all take care. God bless.
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Make sure that they go to our, hopefully they're on we'll put my Facebook page, and also actually put his link for his sign up, his email to RSVP.
That's where they have to register.
Yeah, that's where they'll have to register.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that on I'll put this up on my Facebook page too, because that's where I got it from, your Facebook page. So all the information is there to sign up, and if you want to get your picture taken, going out there and show all your gray off, I might have to come out there and share. You know what I'm saying?
Go for it. We would love to see you there.
So yeah, anything else y'all want to leave the people with before you go?
Yeah, for me, we're both success coaches, and I know my passion is for the women, because they are the ones that struggle the most with this transition into greatness. Your life does not stop just because you have some wrinkles or gray on top of your head. I help women over 40 who dread getting old to master the art of aging with audacity by creating powerful attitudes and habit shifts so that they can lead confident, vibrant, and prosperous lives. That's a part of my life coaching. So if anybody is watching and you're like not fighting aging, but not quite for sure how to navigate the aging, go ahead and type yes in the comments. And you and I, we can get together and have a very personal conversation. I consider myself a gray hair evangelist. I'm not here to convince or force anybody to change. I just simply inspire, empower, and share the goodness of getting older, embracing it, and of course, the gray hair.
Reference to our lives and our past. Nobody really knows her story nor my story totally. But I'm gonna tell you something. We've been through the fire. We ain't coming out smelling like smoke. That's encouragement. It's here to say no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've gone through, as long as you're living, there's an opportunity to make it better. We choose to live a vibrant life. Every day is a gift, and we don't take it for granted. It is a gift to enjoy in spite of what you've been through. We're grateful and we're thankful, but we believe in hope. And a lot of times that hope is based on what you see. It's not about us, but it's about what we've gone through and who we've become. And it's the same thing about you. Your past is your past, but your future is still there. We're here to encourage you to become all that you can be in spite of. So when you get to the end, you will be able to look back and realize that your latter years were greater than your former years. And you can touch so many lives based on where you are. And there's one thing that this world does not have too much of, and that's hope. We present hope, and we believe in hope, and we believe in love. And it flows through us to you, and we receive it back into us. This is our gift to you and your gift to us. We want to see you prosper in every way, spirit, soul, be in good health, but most of all, live this life to its fullest. That's what we want for you.
All right, y'all heard it right there. This is part of my new show, Unapologetically Gray. I'm the executive producer of this new show. Y'all heard it right there. This is a brand new ministry that we will be starting and getting going. So y'all see that? That's a TV show. That was TV show ministry at its best right there. Well, let me tell you. So, you see why I have them at my meeting. You see why we are friends. We all walk the love, walk the God, walk whatever you want to call it. So that lets you know it's never about us. We're here to do what God called us to do. So it's always about you. We will never do anything that's for us without it helping somebody else also. So, hey, I thank you guys for coming on, man. I appreciate it. You guys blessed me. You blessed the audience. It was, before you go, give out all your social media stuff so they can get a hold of you guys.
Oh my goodness, right off the bat, go to www.unapologeticallygray.com, and that's gray with an A for the book. Our social media tags are on there as well, but on Facebook, you can follow me, Tracy with an I, Demos Byerly. You can do the sign at Unapologetically Gray to follow our business Facebook page. And then if you're on Instagram, you may follow me at Unapologetically Gray and also Tracy Byerly.
All right. So you got to do like everybody else, like young kids. See, that's what us old people do. Now you got to get like the young cook. You got to say, and this is my Zelle, and this is my Cash App.
I think I have a unapologetically great Cash App. I need to double check that. Yeah, good idea.
You got to do it nowadays, boy. You want that money? That's the way it gets to you right there. Ting, it's paid. Guys, all my people out there that's on Facebook and YouTube, y'all put your hands together for my friends, Frederick and Tracy Barley. Until next time, you guys stay safe, stay social distancing, wear your mask, and keep the corona to the side. Take care. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my guests, Frederick and Tracy Barley. You seen them, you heard them, you talked to them, and all that good stuff. But like we say, make sure on Facebook that you leave comments, you like, hit the heart button, the thumbs up, and share the video. Also on the YouTube side, make sure you do all that same stuff, and make sure you do subscribe. Again, we want to monetize both Facebook and YouTube so we can give the money to you. We don't need it. We want you to have it. So make sure you do that. Make sure when you subscribe, put it on public so I know it was you, and we can get you that money when it's that time. So once again, my friends, this has been Brother Darren McGriff with Love Sick Ministries, Love Sessions. Like I always say, always continue to walk in love, because you never know who you're going to run into. Life you're going to change with that love. All right. Some people haven't had love their whole life. You be the one that they run into that love and consistent on a daily basis. So next time y'all come back and check me out. Matter of fact, we do. Come back tomorrow. I got the interview with my brother that was on the photographer, Mr. Carlos Business. So check us out tomorrow. The flyer will be up as soon as this is over with. Y'all check us out. Until then, y'all can walk